former WBA welterweight champion Adrien Broner has exercised his immediate rematch clause for a return with Marcus Maidana. And according to Golden Boy CEO Richard Schaefer, two possible venues and dates will either be in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas on April 19th, or it may be in Los Angeles on April 26th. And obviously both of those dates would be on Showtime Championship boxing cards. And Richard Schaefer also admitted that he made a mistake last month when he stated that a rematch clause did not exist. Apparently, the matchmakers were the ones who put the contract together, not Richard Schaefer. So either he wasn't in the loop or he didn't read paperwork, which he should have read before making such a statement, because there was a rematch clause all along. And Adrien Broner has exercised it. So what do you think about this move by Adrien Broner? Do you think that it's a wise move? Do you think it's unwise? Do you think he's going to do better or worse in the rematch? I've got a suspicion. For some reason, I've got a suspicion he'll do better in the rematch. I've got that suspicion. Obviously, Maidana won by a big margin in the first fight. He really beat Adrien Broner up. But Broner did show, although he did show a little bit of bitch in him at times in that fight, because there was a moment there where Maidana was a little bit rough with his head, and Adrien Broner, threw himself down on the floor as though he'd been shot or something, or stabbed, and started rolling around and holding his face. I mean, it was, pretty unfortunate to see a boxer doing that. It's as if he wanted Maidana to get disqualified so he wouldn't have to go through with the rest of the fight. Obviously, it was a dirty move by Maidana, but, don't exaggerate it, man. We're not football players here. And when I say football players, I'm talking about real football, not American football, right? Football players often, all the time, exaggerate injuries to get favor from a referee. And it seemed like that's what Adrien Broner was doing, unfortunately. But at the same time, he did show toughness in there. He did tough it out until the final bell. And he was still standing in the pocket with Maidana. And personally, I thought that Maidana won the fight clearly, but I did give Adrien Broner some of the later rounds. I thought he did come back a bit in the later rounds, and he was landing some good shots on Maidana. And I thought he did sting him a couple times in there. And Maidana himself said after the fight that Adrien Broner does actually have pretty good power. Contrary to what a lot of us have been saying, that maybe Broner don't have much power at welterweight, Maidana said, well, you know what, his power is actually pretty good. So, it is what it is. But I thought that in the latter half of the fight against Maidana, Broner was adjusting a little bit, and he was starting to get a little bit more competitive with Maidana and find loopholes in Maidana's defense and just figure Maidana out a little bit. Not like he was teeing off or anything like that, but I do feel that he was kind of beginning to solve the Maidana puzzle late in that fight. But that's just my opinion. I've only watched the fight once, so if I go back and watch the fight again, I might have a different opinion on that. But as it stands right now, I suspect Adrien Broner will do better in the rematch. But let me know how you feel. Do you feel this fight is too soon for Adrien Broner? Initially, I thought that the fight, an immediate rematch would be too soon for Broner. Broner does have a ton of flaws in his style. He also seems to have a bit of an attitude problem. Going into the fight against Maidana, to me, it seemed clear that he didn't have enough respect for Maidana. He didn't have enough respect for him, and he likes to model himself on Floyd Mayweather. One thing about Floyd Mayweather, forget about his big mouth and the way he acts, in the lead up to fights. Floyd Mayweather takes every single opponent 100% seriously. There is no one more professional when it comes to the preparation for a fight than Floyd Mayweather in the whole sport of boxing. Floyd trains extremely diligently. There's no late night partying. There's no, taking opponents for granted, despite all the rhetoric and hype talk. Mayweather takes every single opponent extremely seriously. And it seems that Adrien Broner don't. Because as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't serious in that fight against Marcus Maidana. I'm not saying that he would have won if he was serious, but I think the fight would have been a lot closer had Adrien Broner been serious, rather than going into the fight really with a disrespectful attitude towards Maidana and not really seeing him as on the same level as himself. So that's just my 2 cents. Again, I thought it would be a bit of an unwise move to take an immediate Maidana rematch. But the more I think about it, I'm not sure. Especially the second half of that fight, the last few rounds of the first fight, I thought Broner was coming into it, and I thought he was solving Maidana a little bit. So I'm not 100% sure if a rematch is actually a bad idea at this particular stage. I think for Maidana, it's unfortunate, but he has to take the rematch because there was a rematch clause in the contract. But certainly Maidana would prefer to go down a different road, rather than have to take on Adrien Broner again, because it's one of the best, if not the best, win in Marcus Maidana's career, at least in terms of the profile of the win. Adrien Broner may not be the best fighter he stepped in the ring with, and he may not prove to be the best fighter he's ever beaten. That remains to be seen. But in terms of the highest profile of fighter he's beaten, there's no one bigger than Adrien Broner on Marcus Maidana's resume at this stage of the game anyway. So drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about the whole situation. Do you think it's too soon for Adrien Broner? You think he should go take a chill pill and maybe join the Mayweather team, humble himself a little bit, go back to boxing school and learn the game from the ground up again, and maybe move down in weight? That's what I initially thought. I thought, what? It's probably going to be better for Adrien Broner to move down in weight. But, it is what it is. The loss is obviously hurting him, which is why he wants the immediate rematch. He wants to right the wrong, what he sees as a wrong, as soon as possible. He's had a lot of backlash, a lot of memes online, a lot of people, pretty much basking in the in the humiliation of Adrien Broner. They're loving the fact that Broner has been humiliated and shown up and taught a lesson as far as they're concerned. So a lot of that, I'm sure, has definitely got to Adrien Broner. He's only a human being at the end of the day, despite all the hype talk and trash talk and rhetoric that he comes out with. He's still a human being, and I know a lot of that. A lot of the memes and a lot of the backlash and the mocking things that he's received after the fight has definitely got to him to one degree or another. So he wants to right the wrong as soon as possible. Do you think it's a good idea or not? Drop your comments below. This is Hatman. I'm out.